Oh,
All right, good. Well, thank you all for joining. Welcome. It's November 13th, and this is the LA Cafe. It's been a couple of, we've missed a couple of months. People have been busy and traveling and such. So we're trying to, ramp this up again. Now that it's getting dark, what else are we going to do but sit inside and chat for a bit? So today we've got Cole Gentry. He's a 2017 graduate of Antioch, so he's going to give us a little more youthful perspective on what it was like to be in school then. So Cole, you want to say hello?
Yeah, hi everyone.
Hi,
Very
Cole.
excited to be. Hi. Very excited to be here.
Welcome.
Oh.
As you can see, most of us graduated a few years before you did.
Just a couple, I think. I think just a couple of years before.
The oldest one is my husband, who's class of 60.
yeah, and you say
I put mine in wrong. I'm class of 62. I got to change that.
Paul, one of the things we were talking about in the waiting room earlier was how once Antiochians get together, the class year doesn't seem to matter anymore. I met people at the work parties that were, like, for instance, David and Rasha. I had no idea who they were. We had a wonderful time together because they're Antiochians, and it seems to make a difference.
Yeah, and that's
I agree
one
with
of the reasons. Yeah, and
No,
that's
just
one of the
I
reasons
agree with
we.
that. Yeah.
That's the worst part about Zoom. That's the worst technology. People just jumping in over each other. So, but yeah, thank you, Jonathan. That's one of the reasons I wanted to start the LA Cafe here, is because we don't get enough chance to meet with each other one-on-one because of the distances. But just introducing ourselves, meeting other people, it creates the community. And so eventually, if we do get together, hey, oh yeah, I've known this guy for over a year or so. So let's I don't, Jesse, if you want to put everyone on mute, and then we'll be on mute for about 15 or 20 minutes, and then we'll open it up to questions. But I think it just works better to have a conversation, and we cover a couple of topics, and then that'll for sure raise some questions, have some questions afterwards. So Cole, I basically, where did you grow up?
Yeah, so I grew up in North Carolina originally, and I grew up in this little town called Mount Airy, which is, if you've ever seen the Andy Griffith Show, it's based around that town called Mayberry, Mount Airy. I grew up all my life there, and then as soon as I was ready to go to college, I was like, let's go not in North Carolina. Let's find a different school to go to. And then Antioch popped up. Literally, it was on Yahoo News. I remember it like it was yesterday. It popped up on the screen, a news article saying that this college in the middle of nowhere, Ohio, is giving away free tuition for 4 years. And I was like, sign me up. Check, sign me up.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
And yeah, that was, I think all the alumni, were, because of the problems that the college was having, and we didn't know what was going to happen, and we didn't know how was that going to work, but obviously, even though it's a small group of people, the college has had a real effect on those small group of people. So the college is still working, the college is still changing and affecting people's lives, no matter what the size. So, people like you have kept the college alive. So thank you. Even though we gave you a lot, you've given us a lot as well. So that's really good. What were your interests when you came to the college?
Well, when I like first was like trying to like immerse myself in like this college experience, I was wanting to do theater and performance. That was like what I went there to like do and to kind of like figure out, but also I just wanted to like take ownership and do it myself. Like start like, collaborate with people, kind of do stuff in the town, and just basically just like grow and just do all the performance things I could. Because I had just come off of like a lot of like chorus training and a lot of stage presence and stage theater that I had done throughout high school.
Mhm.
And I joined a couple of other smaller drama clubs or drama groups actually that we did outside of high school.
Mhm.
And so I was just really interested in like crafting and collaborating on like performance and stage performance. That's what
Yeah.
I wanted to do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I did a little bit of that in high school and came to Antioch and took a couple of acting classes, but it didn't stick. I didn't really feel comfortable on the stage. So I went back into science, so it's kudos to anyone who can get up on a stage and perform.
Well, yeah, well, especially like a stage like the Foundry Theater. I mean, it is one of the biggest, openest, like blackest theaters that I've ever been inside. And it's just like if you're not doing well, it will suck you up so quick. So quick.
So how many people were, we've lost the side by side for some reason. I don't know, my camera's break or so. Well,
I don't know.
and the highlight, Jesse. Uh-oh. Well, can
Everybody
you hear
still
me?
seems to be here. We're all still here, Peter.
All right, good. My video's highlighted. All right, sorry for the technical. We'll edit this out after the show. There we go. We're back. Oh, switch sides. I got to look at you this way now.
I know.
Yeah. So what was the theater department like then? I mean, how many people were there, or, I mean, what was it like? I mean, how many people were on campus, and
Well, so when I joined, we were the third class after the new Antioch had reopened. We were the third class and also the biggest. So my class had 103 or 101 students that came in. So it was the biggest even at the three that put together the rest of the class. But the performance department was the smallest department. When I first started, I was going between psychology and performance because I just had some really great teachers and professors. And so I was really stunned on what I wanted to do. But from the performance department, I think out of all of us that graduated, there was 4 performance majors in my class. Very small, but I think that helped us kind of grow and collaborate more and kind of like find avenues for us to do things really. But yeah, it was tiny. It was so small.
Yeah.
Well,
yeah. I mean, so 100 people. Yeah, that was small. I think. I mean, I was in there, 78, 79. 73, 74, 75, and some of those on-campus quarters were very small. 50 or 60 people. So. So what you mentioned you had some professors that who were they? What did they teach?
Yeah, so my performance professors, who I still love dearly to this day, I had Gabrielle Seville, who was tenured for a while, but then she ended up leaving before I graduated. Louise Smith, who I'm sure most of you probably know, a fantastic there from the beginning until the end. Love her to death. She helped me with my senior project. And kind of just helped me kind of craft this amazing performance, final performance. And then I had Juan C, who also taught performance, but he was popping in and out when Gabrielle left. And then my psychology professor, Deanne Bell, who's no longer there, but love her to death. She is one of my favorite professors that I've ever had. Just the way that she approached courses, and especially psychology, was just so incredible. And then I had a couple of writing professors towards my last year there, Mary Ann Davis and Corrine. I really loved to death. They just, I have something with women professors who I just love. They just give me everything. And then Kevin Magruder, who I'm pretty sure some of you know, I took a couple of his classes, and the way that he approaches history is just also just incredible.
Yeah. Well, I think we've all had inspiring professors on campus who we still hear in the back of our head, giving us advice for comments, So How was the co-op program during those years? Did you take advantage?
Yeah.
What kind
Oh
of
yeah.
stuff did you do?
I mean, that was like one of actually the major things that that drove me to Antioch was the co-op program.
Mhm.
The idea that you get to take a semester to go work and live and kind of like figure out what you want to do in the world.
Mhm.
And you kind of craft it in any way that you see fit. Um, and I didn't take the most of my co-op. I like did like the same co-op 3 years in a row because I loved it. I loved it so much, and I also loved being in New York City so much.
Mhm. Sure.
And so I just like I stayed there for two. I worked at Housing Works. I don't know if anyone here knows what Housing Works
Mhm.
is in New York
What,
City,
what is that?
but it is a non-for-profit program for people who live with HIV and AIDS, and it tackles the dual crises of HIV and AIDS and homelessness. And so, if you've ever been to the Housing Works bookstore, they own like multiple bookstores and multiple thrift stores throughout New York City that they kind of get their revenue from. And
Mhm.
that's how they kind of like, that's how they provide housing or find jobs for all of these people who struggle with HIV and AIDS. But I specifically worked in the catering business for Housing Works. So it was like in the bottom of a health clinic in Brooklyn. That's where they like had their kitchen that we prepped all our food in. But they like hold weddings in the bookstore. That's on I can't even think of where it is now. It's been so long ago, but they used to hold all of their weddings in the bookstore. Like I think I did if anyone knows who Claire Danes is, she's an actress,
Sure.
but we got to do her brother's wedding.
Uh-huh.
And I was just like, this is incredible. I love this.
Uh-huh.
But yeah, I really wanted a job to that helps people, work with a company that helps people, but also kind of I needed to actually get paid because
Sure.
I need money. So I was like trying to like find the place that kind of let me do whatever I wanted and craft something together. And I actually started the co-op. It was the one that I started, and I
Cool.
helped like continue to like hire people that wanted to do it.
Mhm.
And I worked with an alum as well, Emily Casey. I don't remember what year she was, but I worked with an alum who
Mhm.
went to Antioch as well. Her and her husband both were Antioch graduates. So
Wow. Must have been exhilarating to be in New York City. I mean,
love it.
you
I
know,
love New York City.
I mean, you always hear, oh, you need $200,000 a year to live in New York City, but I think they're or
You
to
can
take
do it.
advantage. You can do it.
Yeah, you can do it. I did it.
Yeah.
You just have to live. You just have to live at the very top, and then travel all the way to Brooklyn an hour every day. That's all you have to do.
Yeah.
Go to Queens to Brooklyn every single day, twice a day.
So you took the A train down to.
I actually took the R. I took the R from Queens all the way down to Brooklyn.
Oh my gosh! Yeah.
Yeah, it was in exactly an hour every day
Yeah.
to get to work. Yeah.
Mhm. So, what made you come to LA?
Well, I was honestly when I graduated, I was either deciding LA or New York. That was like my two places that I wanted to go. I ended up meeting my boyfriend. So he lived in LA, and so I was like, well, I guess I'll go to LA just to see what it is. I mean, I had never been before, and I kind of just wanted to see what it was about. Always heard all great things about it, but never knew what it was really. So it's all right. It's all right. I've been here ever since I graduated, and it's been good. I wasted a year of it in a pandemic, I guess, but it's pretty spread out. Traffic's horrible. Dislike it a lot.
Yeah, there's
but
no 1 hour train ride here.
no, this is why I love New York City so much better. You have this great transportation where you can read a book or just do nothing. You just have the time to fill, basically.
Yeah.
Instead of driving in an hour in traffic, which is always the worst.
Or taking 2 hours on a train that would take an hour by car.
Yeah, exactly.
They have some problems, yeah. But they're working on it, but I don't see a solution anytime soon. No.
There's too many people here.
Yeah, too many people here. I mean, yeah, it's LA is great at 2 a.m, right? You can drive
for
any
sure.
place you want in 20 minutes, right?
Yeah, that was the best thing about the pandemic, is when I needed to go somewhere, there was no traffic.
Okay.
It was just no traffic.
That didn't last, not last.
No, not
So
loud.
what do you do now? What's
Yeah, so so when I moved here, I kind of like did a couple of service industry jobs, and worked in a couple of restaurants. But then I started to work in TV. So I worked on American Idol on ABC for a couple of seasons.
what did you
Doing
do?
Yeah, I was working in the social digital department.
Mhm.
So basically it's basically helping promote the show when it's on air. So
Mhm.
it's all social media. We we take the photos of the contestants. We help try to create some video content ideas around the theme nights. And it's just basically pushing the show when it's on air so that it does well and it performs well.
Mhm.
And then so when I was kind of 3 seasons in, I was kind of like, I need to do something else. This is not really fulfilling what I want to do. And it also wasn't as stable because it was only seasonal. So
Right.
when it was filming and on air is when I had a job, and then the rest of the time,
Mhm.
nothing. And so then I started to work for the company that I work for now, which is called Teammate Company. And it's
What's
a
it called?
Teammate Company.
Teammate. Uh-huh.
Yeah, so we're all teammates basically. That's how it's like. We all work together to make
Mhm.
things happen. And it's a social and digital strategy company. So basically, social accounts like Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, we kind of take an artist or a celebrity or sometimes a brand, and we kind of help build digital and social strategy around what they're currently doing. Or if they're starting, they're making an album, releasing music, creating a TV show. That's how we kind of we fill the voids on their socials to kind of build their following. It's basically what we do.
So
Yeah.
where do you get that material, or what kind of material do you need to do that? Is it, I mean,
Well, it's one is more just like knowledge about platforms, and then also knowledge about audiences. So most of the time, let's say we get a client, there's a need from them for us to do something. So it's basically we're not consistently posting enough. How do we build more followers, like authentic followers instead of like bots on platforms?
Sure.
Or it's just we have so much happening. How do we handle putting it all out into the world and getting promotion from it? It's really all guessing. And that's how it starts. It's like, well, you have to look at the audience. You have to look at their style, their voice, because most of the time I'm writing copy for posts, or I'm having to ask them for content or getting them to approve things. It's a lot about managing people, really, and just kind of pushing content out whenever you get it. It's all really guessing, more or less.
Well, trying. I mean, there is no science until it's proven, and then it's old by the time it's,
Yeah, I mean, that's so true. I mean, it's a lot of hopping on social bandwagons and trying to capitalize on the biggest social moments and trying to make big social moments out of stuff that they're doing.
Yeah.
And there's always an array of how that works, because you work with very different people on a daily basis. And I normally have 4 clients at a time, and they're all very different, very different.
So how many people, I mean, is it just one person who does all this, or do you have a team, I suppose? So how many people does it take to support a launch or a product or a person?
Well, it really depends on what it is. So let's say we mostly work in the art, like in the music space. So let's say if someone's creating an album, obviously you're going to want to film the process of creating the album. So you have a shooter for video, photo, and then you have, the managers who kind of, manage the artists and what they do and what performances they do, what TV they go on. And then you have us, let's say the social people, who have to bank all of this content and then create plans based on everything that we have and how we put it out and give it to the world. And then from there, you have you have labels who help advertise and help push stuff in like certain music spaces like Spotify, Apple Music, all of the streaming platforms, etc. So it's like, I mean, it's teams from teams based on what you need to be done. Like on our team specifically, we have mostly account managers, which is the people who manage the social accounts for the clients. And then we also have we have a content person who creates content for us, like graphics, who creates like video movement pieces and stuff. So we
put stuff on TikTok.
I do not personally post stuff on TikTok. I will. So my thing is, if I'm asking like a celebrity to do something, I will do it just to be like, it's like, this is how we do it. Like I will give them examples by doing it myself, so that I'm not asking them something that I have never done. Yeah. So yeah, I don't post myself. It's not what I do. It's not, I'm not comfortable with it, but I will definitely do it to get someone else to do it. Yeah.
I haven't found anything other than mindless drivel on TikTok, you know?
I mean, I was the biggest advocate against TikTok because when it first started as a platform, I was still working at TV at American Idol. And I was like, I will never download TikTok. This will never be my thing. And of course, it explodes. And now every celebrity wants to do TikTok. So, I had a client when it first started who was like, I really want to start a TikTok. And I was like, oh no. I was like, great. Now that means I have to learn TikTok. So, yeah.
So do you use any, I mean, how do you manage that? Do you have like a third party software, or it's just like Post-it notes everywhere? And
yes, it is. It is notes everywhere all the time. But basically we have, for all of our content, like photos, videos, etc., we use Dropbox and Box to like hold everything. And we organize that by basically when it was taken and when we received it. So it's easier to sort through. And then stuff for like actual like content calendars and posting, it can be, whatever you're comfortable with. It can be an Excel sheet, a Google Doc is what normally I use. I use just documents and I do it by day. So, and then I like have an overview timeline of like month by month, what important dates are, when things may be needing to be released. And then from there, I have my own personal to-dos of like, this needs to be done before this so that we can post on that day. So it's just all about like putting all of your important things in like one list and then kind of just going from there. It's a lot of organization.
Yeah, it seems like a lot of juggling, balls in the air, plate spinning and stuff. So, I saw on one of your social media posts, you had a picture of Christina Aguilera, right? Yeah. So was she your most famous client or?
Yes, she's been probably my most famous that I've worked on thus far. I've also worked on, I don't know if you know who Meghan Trainor is.
Names. We like names here.
I've worked for Meghan Trainor. I've worked for, I don't know if you know who Nicole Scherzinger is. She was a Pussycat Doll in a band. I'm trying to think if I think that those are probably my highest tier. Our company has a lot more, but I don't normally work on those. And Adam Lambert, if you know who Adam Lambert is, I've worked on him. But the photos that I started to take, that was a new, more or less a new kind of skill that I've had to acquire. Because, if I'm there trying to get content, I should be able to kind of take all of it. High res photos, videos, etc. So it's kind of I'm now taking photos of celebrities, which is not technically in my job description, but it's been an added thing. And I love it. I really enjoyed it too.
So how does a celebrity like that, are they nice? Are they standoffish? Or it's like, I got to get going, take this picture. I got something else.
Our job, I think, is like, it's always weird because we're always floating from client to client. So there's always those first couple of meetings because prior to when I see them in person, we've probably chatted multiple times. And I text her every day. We have a text chain where we talk and, talk about posting, etc. But like there is a level of comfortability that needs to be there. And it that's like part of my job. I have to make everyone comfortable. I have to make sure things are happening. Like be assertive, but make sure everyone's comfortable and willing to do things. So, I think every single person that I've met that I've had as a client has been very nice. I've always been really nice because they understand what I'm there to do. But I'm just always trying to make people have energy when we do things like that, because most of these things happen over like an 8-hour day. So we're there together all the time. But I just have to be like, I know you're tired, but we're gonna capture some more content. Like, because my job is to get as much content as possible, and then we whittle it down to start posting stuff. So yeah, they're always nice, but anyone that has any kind of celebrity that's in any kind of stature, there's always a little bit of like like this is like Christina Aguilera. Like I was dancing with my brother to Moulin Rouge when I was 8 years old. Like, there's like video evidence of this. So it's like, it's really, it's like surreal in a way. But they've all been super nice. Christina included has been so nice to me. She always is very nice.
Well, that's good to hear. You always hear horror stories about prima donnas or these people that just like don't even look at my eyes.
I've never had. I've actually never encountered someone that way yet.
Well, no, you only hear about the bad people. You don't hear about the.
I know. Yeah, that's true.
Good.
Yeah, that's the first question I get about Christina. Is she nice? She's very nice, actually. She's like the nicest. Yeah.
Well, good to hear that.
Yeah.
So what's the next big thing? What can you clue us in on or get us ready for?
Well, I go to Vegas next week to shoot another video. Can't say who specifically, but I'm sure.
Oh, you're sure you can. You're amongst friends here. Come on.
But yeah, I'm shooting a music video next week, and then I just got done editing a fresh batch of photos for a music video releasing next week as well. So there's some great things that I've shot, and then that I'm going to shoot in the future that are going to be really great. So I'm very excited.
Are you a member of this?
I am. I think I am.
Yeah. So post some some follow up, from your release or your your Vegas shoot or something like that. Because everyone's curious. Everyone wants to know what's going on, and people can say, "Oh yeah, I know Cole Gentry. Yeah, he's we're like this."
I love that. No, I'll do it. Once things go up, I'll share them with you for sure.
I didn't think about it before this, but I was thinking, what would you suggest that we can do with the LA alumni group, right? In order to, I don't know, just attract more people. I send out emails on MailChimp. You might have gotten a text today. I've got my Facebook page. I've got all these LA cafes are recorded, right? But I started editing them, and then I got busy at work. Editing is like tedious,
awful
stuff. Oh my gosh, oh no, I got to move that. Oh, I don't, So, my plan is to edit those videos and post them, and maybe turn some of them into a podcast. Because a lot of this is audio stuff. There's not a lot of video in it. But what do you think? Other than those things, do you have any suggestions or recommendations on what we could do to reach out? It's probably totally different demographics than you're used to. Although if you look around, the people who participate are the people who, graduated in the 60s and 70s, and people like you. Oh, we love to talk, to the whole range. How do we get people, who graduated in 1980 and on, into the group?
Yeah, well, there's a couple of initial ideas that kind of come to mind. Facebook is such a shareable platform. So you can invite friends that you know of to come, join pages. So that's one way I would say, is like, if you have friends on Facebook who are in LA that are alumni, I think inviting them and then just sending them a note is like the first easiest step. I think once videos go up and get posted, I think, YouTube channels are a good way to do that. Because there's longer form pieces of content. And then I don't know if you have an Instagram page or a Twitter page at all, but those could be other aspects where you can put content for people to see and share and want to be a part of. I think that the texting and the MailChimp thing is a really good a really good way. You just have to get people to, you know, sign up for those things. That is the issue. But also maybe even connecting with the college like
Well, yeah,
sources. Because I know that Duffy does a lot of like sharing of alumni, and he's the one that collects all the alumni stuff for all the alumni magazines. So
yeah.
he's very active on Facebook because
Oh yeah, Steve. I know Duffy since he was in married student housing, you know, on campus in the early 70s. So
Duffy
you know,
and I go way back too.
uh-huh.
I used to work at the library. Him and I always cutting up, always, you know,
Yeah.
always doing the thing.
Yeah, he was good. Yeah, and we do have a list of the alumni within like 50 or 100 miles of LA.
Mm-hmm.
The trouble is that out of 300 or 400, right, you only have about 150 emails or so. So we're,
Right.
you know, there are a couple of people on the call, and we'll talk about this later, is we're trying to go through like some of these fine people on the internet companies to try to build that email list. I think that's really the most important because, you know, we like I say, we've got 150 emails. We've got, I don't know, like 70 people on the Facebook page. You know, the video, these LA cafes, you get somewhere between a dozen to 20 people. But yeah, we need to reach out and get more people in. So I'll work on setting up the Instagram and Twitter for that and see how many more people we can rope in. So so it's around 5:30. You know, I think we'll move to an open questions. I'm sure some people have some questions here. Let me open up. So I think the easiest way is if people put a question in the chat here, or if there's not any chats, then we'll just open it up. Do you have any last things you'd like to say? Any shout outs to people or words of advice or?
I'm trying to think. I mean, I haven't really been immersed in Antioch, the Antioch bubble in a couple of years. So it's been really like a great experience to like come back and talk about it because I had so many really great experiences and really great people that were professors, students, townies, and faculty members who I just really love and adored.
Mm-hmm.
So it's just been, I don't know, it's been great, you know, to just talk about it.
Yeah.
So thanks for having me.
Yeah.
Appreciate it.
So what do you think is, you know, why is it that, you know, like I didn't do anything with the college for probably, you know, I gave them $100, you know, every now and then when they asked for it, you know, sorry. I know there's some people who put a lot more in it, but, you know, but yeah, why do you think that people just drift away for a large number of years, you know? Why?
Yeah, I mean, I can't speak on anyone before I was there, and like the 4 classes that I was a part or that was in the community when I was there. But I mean, there is such a thing about being in a bubble for so long because it is such a small bubble, but it can combust very easily because you're, you know, you have all this stress of classes and trying to be social. Then also you have like social issues that happen, and it's just a lot of like charged energy all the time. And then they just kind of get burnt out, and they just kind of don't think about it after they leave. They just want to get in and get out, and then kind of move on with their lives. Which, you know, and then I've seen that happen so many times. And then my friends specifically, I know multiple. They were kind of just tired. They were just kind of exhausted when they left, and they were like, "Well, I don't really need to go back because they didn't really have a totally great experience. Obviously, they had good times, but they just like overall, it was just more of like a stressful environment for them."
Sure.
So it's just it. And when I was there, it wasn't like the college wasn't very established. We were fighting for accreditation. We were fighting to like open whatever buildings that we could. We were kind of just, and then at the same time, it was like we were being ignored a lot from just like everyone. So it kind of made it just more stressful than it probably should have been. So.
Well, I think, you know, some people on the chat here say it's, you know, helps you deal with challenges, you know, so
True. Yeah.
everyone everyone grows from being challenged, and stressful
For sure.
environment, puts you through the fire. I don't know, Deborah, let's open it up to questions. Deborah, do you want to expand on your chat there and maybe get some one-on-one conversation going there? I think Jesse has to unmute us or give us permission to unmute.
You have to unmute yourself. I can't do that. And I'll switch.
Okay, I'm unmuted now.
Guys.
Thank you.
So I started out in that theater building and in the dance department, and also taking literature classes, and had this plan to get a PhD in medieval literature. Since you couldn't do, I liked doing dance rather than talking on stage, as it turns out, although I did a lot of talking on stage. But I ended up going to medical school, which was just completely in another direction.
Yeah, for sure.
So I met Daryl Hickman, who's the brother of Dwayne Hickman, and he's written a book called The Unconscious Actor, about the acting that we all do in our lives. We have to adapt to people, and we have to be what they need us to be. It doesn't mean it's not compromising who we know we are, but you can be lots of things. You can work out of both sides of your brain, not just one, and you can just be whatever you want to be. And I met him not knowing that about his book, and that he was the guy whose book I just read the week before. But we have to be lots of different people, and we have the opportunity to be lots of different people in our lives. And I can just see you could just go in any direction and do something interesting.
I do want to appreciate that, and I think that is such an important thing to just state, because my job specifically just requires me to be whatever someone needs me to be, rather than always needing to be myself. It requires me to take care of the celebrity, grab the content that we need, and also reassurance is one of the biggest things I've seen with working with celebrities. There needs to be that cosign of what people are thinking, or cosign of, is this right? Is this what I need? Is this what we need? Is this it? Is this correct? So I totally see that. And honestly, I've been asking myself the same question for about, since the pandemic happened. It's like, what am I going to do next? What can I do next? What am I able to take from this job specifically and do something else with? So I think that's a great question. And I literally ask myself that every day. What can I do next? Who knows? And who knows? I don't have an answer yet. So I'll let you know if I ever find an answer for that.
Great. Thank you. Thank you, Deborah. Any other questions any people might have about for Cole, or what college was like then and now, and anybody?
We were talking earlier about the constant change that we always went through at Antioch, and Cole, I think you experienced the same thing, and it's very intense. It can be very intense, especially in a isolated environment. But learning how to deal with that change and accept it and embrace it and roll with it, boy, when you get outside, that's the best training you could have. Anything I ever learned doesn't even come close to learning how to survive in constant change, because it is constant change. And I think that prepares us very well for it. It sounds like it prepared you for it very well too.
Yeah, I mean, I just like thinking about it, the constant, like I even think about it today, like where is that energy that I had when I was at Antioch? Because it changed so often, and you had to adapt so quickly, because you went to school year round, and then you also had a co-op like in between all of the semester, and sometimes you may have had a class while you were also in co-op. So you have all of these things that you're constantly adapting to, and you're constantly having to do. And I think honestly, I think that is one of the things that made me more or less successful. Like right now, it made me kind of push my way into a place I wanted to be, and a space where I felt like I could grow outside of, a performance degree, which I haven't technically used. I mean, you may say I use it every day. So, I mean, I probably do, where I just perform constantly for people. But yeah, I think that's the constant change. I think that is like, yeah, it definitely helped. It kind of built like a second layer of like, well, now I have to get shit done. I have to win some victory for humanity, basically. Yeah.
Well, I think that's the challenge that everyone, at least I have in the back of my mind, and I've, what does it mean to win a victory for humanity? One thing is good about it is you get to define that for yourself, right? Nobody really defines that or can define it for you, because everyone's experience with humanity is different. And, some people, yes, they're civil rights attorneys and they're defending people who are mistreated, but not everybody can do that, right? But I think every day you have a chance to win a victory for humanity by how well you treat another person, right?
Yeah.
Because that's really just like politics is local, humanity is local. So, I really like to collect a whole bunch of little, Twitters about what it means to, win a victory for humanity. Is it, holding the door for someone, or or giving someone $1, or letting them pass get in front of you in traffic. I mean, all those little things add up, and I think that's one thing that almost every Antiochian gets out of the college, is that am I doing something for humanity? Am I
right?
Is this the right thing? And I see that in every person we've interviewed here. There's always that behind the scenes drive. So. Great. If there are any other questions, anyone else want to make a comment or speak to that, or have anything to say? Otherwise, getting close to the end of the session. Thank you.
I wanted to say that one of the things that I think that Antioch did for David and me, it made us very curious about the world, for one thing, and wanted to travel a lot. We traveled the United States when our children were young. We didn't feel we could afford to go abroad. And since then, we've been to all 7 continents and umpteen many countries and whatever. But in addition to that, the needing to do a victory for humanity, I think throughout, we have been active in some sort of. In the 60s, it was in fair housing. We were very active in fair housing. We worked with a group that Torrance was a big city with very few minorities. And what we had to do was double escrow. That is, you set up 2 families with similar backgrounds, same income or similar income, same professional status. And the Blacks were denied to rent or to buy. And the white person, they were told it wasn't available. And the white person would go in with the same background and be accepted. And the white person would go in and either buy or rent, especially buy, and turn around and sell immediately to the Black family. That's the double escrow.
Wow.
To get people in. And then in the 70s, I don't remember what, was still some fair housing from the late 80s until somewhere around 2014. We're very active in a group locally called Help the Homeless Help Themselves. I was treasurer for many years and president for at least 4, and then active in our Democratic Club, just constantly doing something. I was interviewed for a local magazine on why did I keep pushing to do this? Well, it was a combination of 2 things. My Jewish background, which has a commandment called of Tikkun Olam, which means repair the world. And so between the Tikkun Olam and Horace Mann's mandate to do something for humanity, I couldn't stop.
Yeah.
I'd always be doing something. And this lung condition has stopped me from doing a lot of it. But even while on oxygen, I was president of our local Democratic club. I couldn't stop. I'm still on the board as past president, but I just couldn't. And now I have a hard time talking because I don't have enough breath. But I've done phone banking, and to try to get people out to vote and so on. Back when I could walk around, I did precinct walking. And David's now active, less active because he's so busy taking care of me, but active in a group called CCL, which is Citizens, help me, David, Citizens Climate Lobby?
Climate lobby.
Citizens Climate Lobby, working for people to do something about climate change, because that's his passion, that it's the biggest threat to humanity is climate change. And if we don't do something about
Peter,
that.
Yes.
I think one of the things that living in that bubble helps you learn is how to make the right choices. You leave home, you leave at your high school where everything's pretty much decided for you. You find yourself in Yellow Springs, Ohio, with no one to tell you what to do and everyone telling you what to do. I mean, it can be really confusing. And so you learn how to make choices for you, or at least I did. I think the people who didn't survive the Antioch experience were people who might have been having problems with that. But if you learn how to make the right choices, that helps in the career, that helps in the giving back to humanity. It helps. Everything I do is improved by the ability to make good choices. And I think the opportunity to do that in a small school is just incredibly valuable.
Mhm.
You talked about having a small class of performance majors. I was in the class of 70. We did not have a film department. I was the film department. And then eventually there were 2 or 3 more of us. Denny Eagleson came in to do photography. And we became self-taught, which turned out to be an incredibly valuable skill, because essentially we're all self-taught, and having an opportunity to do that in a safe place was just really valuable.
Well, I really have to thank everyone who was in the college before me and before everybody, because that legacy has continued. It started way back with Horace Mann, and it went through everyone, through the 50s, the 60s, the 70s, the 80s, and it's good to hear that it's still continuing. So that's a theme that has run through the college and continues to run through the college, to be able to think critically and come up with the right analysis of a situation to make the right decision. So I think we all owe a debt of gratitude to Horace Mann, I suppose, and the people who helped form the curriculum and created the school. So I wish I'd been involved with the college more over the last couple of years, but you do what you do, and you start when you can. So
We didn't go back. I mean, we were involved by donating, but we didn't really go back until David's 50th
yeah.
in 2010.
Uh-huh.
And we went back because we got involved when we were told the college was going to close.
Yeah.
University was closing.
Mm-hmm.
And we had a much bigger group than this of Antiochians. We met, Jonathan remembers, because Jonathan was part of it as well. We met in various places around the city, frequently in Santa Monica, I think.
Mm-hmm.
And also up at Milliken, Kristen was very active. She's now in Maine, but she was very active. She was a counselor at a private school up in the Mulholland area.
Mhm.
And so we got there a couple of times, but we really got active at that point to doing something. And then finally, in 2010, we went back for a reunion and work project. We did that until 2016.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think because I'm relating to what Cole had to say about some of the experiences being stressful. And I think some of us have echoed that, right? I mean, okay, so you have your final on Friday and you got to get to Washington, DC and get a place to live and report for work on Monday morning, right? I mean, whoa. But you know what? You've done that a few times and I can do this. I mean, I've changed professions several times. You can see, oh God, this career is not going to work because nobody wants this anymore.
Mhm.
But you know what? I can make a plan and I can do it. But the other thing I think is that after some time goes by, those stressful experiences, you become more philosophical about them.
Mhm.
And you look back and you say, God, I've had long-term benefit from this amazing experience. So that's something to look forward to.
Thank you,
Yeah.
Tanya.
Yeah, it's exactly like you said, Tanya. It's like obviously the moment itself was very stressful, and it was always hard. It was always difficult in some way. It was never very easy until probably my last year when I was and then even creating like a final whatever, it was difficult, but I think I had kind of been built up to that point. So that even though everything was stressful, the curriculum and the professors really wanted you to succeed in any way that you possibly can. And I think that helped. And I really think that if I hadn't been there with like the professors that I had, and the friends that I had, and then this really small theater community that I had there, I probably wouldn't have built myself up to where I ended at Antioch. And I don't know. It's just so, like, when I think about it, I'm like, yeah, it was stressful, but it was so helpful. But sometimes you can't see that, and sometimes you can't go back to it because it was maybe so difficult, which I feel that for a lot of people that was in my class. But I do think that once they get into a good enough space, I think that they're able to kind of look at it and say, maybe I don't want to go back there, but it maybe did help, maybe it did help.
Yeah. And maybe that's why, there was always such a gap between the new graduates and the alumni group. It just takes a long time to process it and to feel comfortable with it and to realize, well, maybe it wasn't such a big gaffe that I did, or maybe it wasn't such a big deal that I failed a class or so. I should come back and I've learned from that, and I've gotten to be a better person because
I definitely failed a class too. I definitely failed a class once or twice.
So, well, builds character. Yeah.
Harry, you're muted. I could see your lips moving, but
When I was there, I had grades my first semester, and then they eliminated grades. So my college GPA is based on one course.
No one has ever asked me what my GPA was. I've always gotten my positions and work on the strength of my experience, and I guess my personality. So
when you apply to graduate school, they ask that question.
Yeah, I'm sure they do.
Well, no, I got into graduate school. I have a master's in biomedical engineering. I had my transcripts, but I tested well on, whatever graduate record exams, I think, or whatever those were called then, so yeah. So I learned something at Antioch, and I applied it, and I remembered it, and I pushed forward. So I think all of it did that.
I had other college experiences where I was more successful in terms of my grades, but I value my Antioch education more for all the learning about life, and I stay connected with Antioch more than any of the other schools.
Yeah.
I have a second bachelor's degree from Dominguez Hills, and I have no connection at all to UC Davis. I was a number, I was one of thousands of people, and that's the way I feel, and that's the way they treated me. And, I really, no connection at all. I couldn't recall one person or one professor. Well, maybe one, but. And I have no connection at all to Dominguez Hills or Boston University or Long Beach State, any place else that I went.
Yeah.
But Antioch was my connection for life.
I did not realize how important the Antioch experience was to me until the college threatened to close. And then I started thinking about it and realized that, no, they can't do that. This is too important. There are other people who are just like me or could be similar to me that need this institution. And that's when I got more involved. And that's when I discovered how much fun it was to hang out with Antiochians of any class here. It didn't matter. And I think if we can kind of encourage maybe some of the younger people or the more recent graduates to become a member of a bigger group of alumni, I think we would all benefit from it dramatically. And
all of us would.
And certainly be able to help some of the younger folks. I know I have a lot of experience in things, and everybody on this Zoom call right now has a lot of experience in something which somebody else wants to share. So, I think it's important.
Good. Well, Cole, if you know people out there, not only in LA, but outside, tell them to consider joining a local alumni group. And they're interesting people all across the country.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. And I think like one of the biggest things for me, not only at Antioch, but also in just life and finding jobs, it's who you know, really. It's who you know, how you know them, and that's how you kind of wiggle your way into be any term of successful. It's just starting off being like, yeah, I could probably do that, until like then eventually like learning and knowing and growing, and then actually being like, actually, I can do that. This is I can just teach myself how to do it. So yeah.
Right. And Cole, I've worked with most of the major actors and actresses in Hollywood and many celebrities, and almost without exception, they're all good people. There's one glaring exception who will remain unnamed, and a couple of less important people that were kind of pains in the ass, but the really big stars, they don't get to be big stars by being creeps, they get to be there by people wanting to hire them and wanting to work with them.
And working well with them. Yeah.
Yeah.
If they need a social person, you have me. So
well, that's one of the things I wanted to find out. I don't really know much about what a social person does, and I know more now than I used to.
I'm sure, you can give me any name and I could probably dig up their audience, where they, where their main audience is, how they do post wise. I have some knowledge. I have a little bit of that.
You have a lot of knowledge that many people do not have, just because it's so brand new. Maybe all your friends, they might know this stuff, but 90% of
not
the
even
not. Yeah.
It's always changing, so you can never pinpoint it. Yeah.
I spent most of my career, in addition to doing my job, reassuring people that everything is going to be okay. And that became the most important task of my day, was making sure people knew it was going to be okay and convincing them that the things that they were worried about were not going to be a problem. And
Yeah.
oh boy.
I do it on a daily basis. I know exactly what you're talking about. It's always that.
Well, great. All right. So it's 6 o'clock. I've got stuff to do. Other people have stuff to do. You know, spouses are waiting for dinner. You know, they're knocking at the door or whatever. So I really thank you, Cole, for taking the time on a Saturday night to spend with us, share your knowledge, share your experience, and listen to us. So thank you again very much, and thank you for everybody who took the time to join today. And I promise you, eventually, this stuff will be on social media someplace. So thanks again. We'll look forward to seeing you all again next month. So take care.
Good. Thanks, guys.
Thanks, Cole.
Bye-bye.
Thank you, Peter. Thank you, Cole.
Thanks, y'all.